another video for you. Today we're using bands. So we have our personal, absolute favorite, everybody must own piece of equipment, and that is a hip circle. If you don't know about it, look down in the description below and go check it out on Amazon. This is like, I'm sure a lot of you have all seen the plastic ones and then you put them on one day and they just break. Or you have like 12 different sizes to have the right resistance. This is just one, super durable. This one personally is almost 2 years old and it's still just as bad as it was on the first day. And by bad, I mean good. So definitely check it out. If you don't have one, they're like 20 bucks. They're super cheap, totally essential, especially for that total core health, shoulders to hips. And then we have an infinity loop resistance band. So, you know, the infinity bands, they're great for a couple reasons. I think they're convenient because you can attach them onto something easily by looping them through themselves around like a bar or a post. But I also think that you can double loop them to make them smaller. That adds more resistance. And as the bands get to be a little bit heavier or provide more assistance or resistance, they're great for pull-ups too. So I'm a big fan of infinity bands. Again, if you've never heard of them or seen them, and I call them an infinity band. I actually don't know what they're called, but I call them an infinity band because it's a loop. But I'm not sure if that would bring it up in a Google search or not. But check below, we've got a link for them too. And if you don't have an infinity band, and you just have a regular resistance band, it'll work just as well. Handles are totally fine too. They'll work for everything that we're gonna do today. So, go grab those pieces of equipment. We're gonna do 3 rounds, 5 exercises. It's total body. You're probably gonna feel your heart rate go up a little bit, and your legs are definitely gonna feel some fatigue, and so are your shoulders. So, without further ado, let's get started. Round 1, guys. For all of round 1, everything is in reps of 10. Now, there are a few sets where we're doing a little bit of a timed hold involved in there for some isometric load, but for the most part, you're gonna be wanting to count to 10. Now, every round's gonna get a little bit harder as our reps increase each round, but let's worry about that when we get there, all right? So 5 exercises, we're leaving this band on the whole time, so if you don't have it on yet, toss that on. For those of you that are maybe using a different band, maybe it's not quite as tight or has as much resistance as ours does, feel free to lower that down on your legs. The closer you go to your ankles, the harder it's gonna be. We really don't need to do that because, like I said, these bands are evil and awesome. Okay, so first exercise is squat to squat jump. So if you don't want to jump, you can follow me. We're going to push through our toes on the second squat, but count the jumps or count the second push through your toes as your rep. Ready? Here we go. Make sure that you're driving out into that band the whole time. You don't want to let the band push your knees in at all. Especially, this is one of the most common times to allow that to happen is as you come out of the hole, coming out from the top. Heart rate's up. We're going to grab our band. So whether you have a regular resistance band or an infinity band, we're gonna just unlock our knees and extend our hips. So I just want you to try to push your butt back, keep that weight loaded nice and even through your feet. We're gonna go with a pull apart, straight open, and then we're gonna press up into a Y above our head. So 1 and 1, 1 big rep. So 2 and 2. So as you do this, you wanna focus a ton on that shoulder blade retraction, and all that means is pinching your shoulder blades together. Think about having a pencil back there. Think about pushing your chest forward or reaching it towards the band as you pull it towards you. What we want to be really cautious of is not letting your low back arch. So make sure your core is super engaged, and that as you pinch those shoulder blades, you're not arching in your back or pushing your gut out. Perfect. We're going to the floor, guys. Glute bridge. So we're going to do 10 glute bridges, and then we're going to hold that top position for 60 seconds. So this is one of those isometric exercises I was talking about. Remember to focus on your glutes here. It's your hips that are moving the most. Again, you do not want your knees to cave in or knock together at all while you're doing these reps, whether it's actual reps or the isometric portion. Okay, so we've got 60 seconds here, holding up at the top. If this really starts to burn out your glutes, you can slide that band higher up your legs, as I'm pointing at the ground, but that's the direction my legs are going. So push it up your legs. Make sure that you keep your feet flat on the ground. A lot of the times we see people try to push the band out apart by rocking on their feet, and they end up putting the weight on the outside edge of their feet. And that's something we want to avoid doing, because you're actually producing that movement of holding the band apart, not from the right muscle group. So you're actually just trying to manipulate a joint angle more than you are actually engaging your glutes and pulling your band apart. Whew. Mine are burning.
Yep. 7 seconds. 2 and 1.
Good work. Woo. All right, so 2 exercises left to go here. We're gonna go with your band to the wall, or a wall that hopefully you have close by. If you don't have a wall, you can just get into a low-loaded squat for these reps, but if you take your resistance band and you're gonna stand on top of it. How much resistance you allow between those feet is gonna dictate how much, or how difficult, or the load is gonna be on your upper body. So we're gonna get into our wall sit, and you're gonna do 10 front raises, but while we front raise, we're gonna be timing for 60 seconds. So as soon as you hit 10, right up to about shoulder height, you can stop pulling, and we're just gonna hold that wall sit. But remember your legs here. We do not want our knees caving in. Make sure you keep that core tight, pushing yourself against the wall. Weight in your feet is nice and even, so you're not lifting up your heels and pushing into your toes. So now we're just hanging out for a little bit less than 30 more seconds.
Oh man.
So a little break for our shoulders, but in this set, next round, the shoulder work is what increases in reps. We'll always stay in this wall sit for 60 seconds.
Wow.
10 seconds.
Band is pretty good.
So if you get really tired, you can always sit a little higher up. I'm a little higher and break than the other girls are, but I'm also pregnant. All right, guys. So last exercise here. Remember
The plank with the row.
Ah, yes.
Plank with row.
Plank with row. So Jane is down first, so she's gonna demonstrate. I'm gonna do a modification here, but Jane's gonna row in with one hand, and she's gonna then lift the opposite leg. So 2 separate movements not done together. She'll stay on that side for 10 reps. So this would be rep 2. After she gets to 5 reps, she's gonna switch sides. Something you can see from Annie probably a little bit better is how she's holding her resistance band. So you see that in this case, her right hand is holding the resistance in one place, and her left hand is doing the row. What you can see from Jane is what's happening at her back leg really well. So she's not trying to put her heel up to the sky, she's trying to squeeze her glute and raise her leg. You have to have switched, Jane.
Now it's time. Quick.
So, good news for you is if you listen to my directions, it was only 5 aside. The bad news for these girls is that they've chosen to do 10 aside.
Oh.
So we're gonna let them continue so they're even, but if you did 5 and switch sides, good for you, you're a winner today. And this is my modification, apparently, standing and talking to you, but next round I'll give you guys a little bit something. As always, if you get into this situation and it's not possible, you can't keep your hips stable, or maybe it loads your low back too much, trying to lift that leg up, then I just want you to stay and hold your plank for the duration of which they're working. But that's round 1. So round 2, we're gonna see an increase in reps, all right? Ready? Here we go, guys, round 2. So now we're taking all of our rep counts to 15 reps. So right now we've got 15 squat to squat jumps. Here we application, we're just pushing up, pushing our hips all the way through, coming up through our toes on every jump, which if you take a time to compare me to Andy or Jane, that's what they're doing when they jump. They push through from their hips and their ankles, and that's something that we get a nice straight line through their body we call triple extension.
5 more.
Whew.
Was it? Oh man, it might have been on his own.
I'm not counting, you guys have to do it.
I know.
Okay, we've got pull aparts to overhead Y raise here. So remember, slight squat, hips tucked under, tight core. Pull apart, push up and out into that Y, focusing on shoulder blade retraction.
This one confuses me.
It is a little bit of a movement pattern here going on. There's a lot of research out there that says cross training or strength training is actually really good for your brain. So we're just helping you with that today, Jane.
I definitely need it.
So remember, we're in 15 here.
Andy, what are you at? 10. Okay.
Means we've got 5 left, guys.
Glutes.
Yep.
Burning.
So hopefully you're sitting back into your hips, driving your legs into that band so that you feel your glutes firing, even though we're not even in a full squat.
Crazy how that works. Last one.
Whew. Nice work. All right, we have our glute bridge. So down to the ground, this time 15 glute bridges to a 60-second hold.
Ooh. Wow.
So if last time was really hard, maybe you want to move that band up a little bit on your legs, closer to your hips, to decrease the workload a little. Is this 13?
I'm on the other 15.
Oh, 60 seconds. I was keeping tempo with Annie.
It's a feeding fatigue. See, I thought I was keeping tempo with you, so it's...
Just pushing each other. That's what a good workout partner does.
I had my eyes closed.
Jane was just enduring.
Taking a quick nap.
Enduring the exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We are halfway, guys. Squeeze those glutes. Make sure that you're not overreaching from your back, and so you're putting your back into extension or arching your back. Don't worry about how high your hips are. Worry about how tight your glutes are, how well you can push out into that band, keeping your feet nice and flat on the ground. Keep your core engaged. We've got 10 seconds.
Can't wait for that wall sit.
Oh yeah, isometric to isometric. 3, 2, and break. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. It's also fun just to get up and off the floor with the band on. All right. So remember, we're standing on our band. The amount of slack you allow between your feet dictates the amount of resistance on the band. So we've got 15 front raises, but regardless, we're staying in this wall sit for 60 seconds. Coming just right up to about shoulder height. Remember to keep that weight even in your feet. Do not be in your toes. Keep your back against the wall as you do that front raise. Woo-hoo. So we've got 25 seconds left.
I think I prefer to do arms the whole time just to distract myself.
Go for it, guys. If you want to do those band raises the whole time, more power to you. Next round, you'll get pretty close to the full 60 seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and break. Okay, so down into our plank, guys. Grab that resistance band. For those of you that have other equipment at home, if you find it easier to do this with a weight, feel free to switch to the weight versus a band. For those of you that really struggled with this last round, maybe just do the leg raises. Stay in that plank, hold the position, and alternate raising every other leg. Big thing on the, this is 10 aside, guys. So now they're gonna do the reps they did last round, again this round. Something you can see Jane doing really well is how straight she's keeping her whole leg. So you notice that she's not flexing at her knee, trying to lift that band or her foot off the ground by kicking her knee, right? Because the muscle group we're looking to use is actually the muscles around our hip. So we're looking for extension at our hip, which is this movement here. So to produce that movement, we don't need to do that. And on Annie's angle, what you can see her trying really hard to focus on is keeping those hips nice and level as she lifts a leg and as she lifts an arm. It's super common when we take an arm or one of those four supports off the ground that we try to tilt our hips, open them up towards the side of the body that's moving. We really want to prevent that. That's just a compensation to make it easier for us. We're kind of adjusting our levers in that situation. We want to force ourselves to not do that. All right, guys, that's round 2. So I bet you can guess what's going to happen next in round 3, but
It's a surprise.
we'll tell you in a minute. Here we go, guys. Last and final round, third round on us. We are in reps of 20. So we're starting off squat to squat jump. Here we go. Remember, I've got the modification, so if you don't feel like jumping, we're pushing through our toes. Big key here is to push your hips through at the top. Do not let yourself stay crouched from your hips. So even if we go to our toes, you're squeezing your glutes and you're pushing your hips through. Getting a good shot of my pregnant belly.
Halfway. Pretty sure when I jump, my shirt goes up your head.
Annie, I think you're skipping the double jump, or the double squat.
Am I?
I just tried to get back on time with you when you were jumping every time I was squatting, even if I wasn't jumping. I don't trust her. I trust her.
I feel like because when I land, I go into like the squat.
The squat right away.
And good. Oh man. My jump got like a foot shorter that time.
All right, guys, we are on to our quarter squat with pull apart and Y raises. So grab your resistance band. If you didn't feel the burn last time, maybe bring those hands in closer on it. But we've got 20. Count your Y raises, or count your pull aparts, or count to 40. But that's the worst. 40 is a big number. Feels like it takes too long to get there. So remember that you're driving out into that band. Look at your legs, are they doing that? If they are, correct it. Drive out into the band, sit heavy into that midfoot. Core is tight, shoulder blades pinch together every time. If you're feeling a lot in your traps, or right along here, think about pulling lower on your chest. So hold your hands just a little bit lower. It'll help you deload just a smidge in those traps and hopefully get a little more posterior shoulder than you maybe are currently getting.
Annie, where you at? 14? Okay, cool. I'm at 13. That's right. It feels like it's taking forever.
That's because it's 20 reps. 20 double reps, yeah. So if you're experiencing any shoulder discomfort, guys, just stop. Hold that quarter squat with us. Maybe find a range of motion if it's the overhead that bothers you. Maybe stay with the pull aparts.
20.
Woo! Finish that rep, I'm not sure. All right, glute bridge.
25.
20 glute bridges. 60-second hold. Here we go. Remember that we are keeping our knees into our band. That core is nice and tight so we're not overextending from our abdomen. Putting an arch in our back. Our feet are flat on the floor, including our toes. Make sure that you can feel contact through your whole foot. You feel the heaviest midfoot to heel. The most amount of weight down through your arch and up or back towards your heel of your foot or feet, if you have to, like the rest of us.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yep, we've been holding for a while.
Oh, I'm even slow. I counted.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
As long as you count your reps. That burn is real, guys. We've got less than 30 left. Ooh, those glutes tight. Push those hips up. Oh yeah. I'll feel this tomorrow.
Yep. Can't even feel them. Like, are they still there?
Yeah, they're going numb. Pretty soon I won't know if they're working. 3, 2, and break.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Excellent work.
I left foot went to sleep.
Okay. Wall sit. Only 2 more. So now remember, feet are standing on top of your resistance band. Amount of slack between your feet dictates the difficulty. We've got 20 front raises here. But remember, we're holding for 60 seconds regardless of how fast you do your front raises. So if your front raises are a distraction, maybe go slow. Or just keep doing them and get extra work in. But let me tell you, if you're just doing extra work, maybe you should have had less or more slack between your feet. Because I don't want to do more than 20 right now.
I got 2 more.
Oh, good news, guys. Good news is we've got 15 seconds.
I can do that.
And the other good news is this is our last round. Drive out into those bands, guys. Don't let your knees pull in. Push out, 5 seconds. 3, 2, and break.
Ooh,
All right, plank, rows.
So
I am gonna
close.
take mine
Ready?
off.
On your side?
20 aside, guys.
We're good, we got it. Here we go.
15 aside. 15
Yeah, you
aside.
did fine.
Sorry, 15 aside. They weren't even gonna argue with me, guys. How good are they? I could have said 100. Jane was sending devil or laser beam eyes at me.
Just watch the video later.
So remember all those points we've talked about so far, guys. Core stays super tight. You can always set your feet a little bit wider depending on the band that you've got on. It helps stabilize your hips. Wider base of support makes it easier to not let your weight shift around. So we're looking to keep our hips as close down to the floor as we possibly can. We're looking for moving that leg lift from our hip. So that's hip extension. So we're squeezing our glutes. We're lifting up. You'll feel your glutes. You'll feel your hamstrings on those. Little worker beats here. So something that we haven't mentioned yet, but is important to note, that every time you do that row, we're looking for scapular retraction, or we're looking for that shoulder blade to pinch. If you're not making any pinching movement from that back, pushing your chest forward, you're missing a big part of the exercise, but you're getting a pretty solid bicep work there. So take it controlled, make sure that you pull and pinch your shoulder blade in towards the other side. You guys are almost done. Cruising through these reps.
Okay. Oh, you're done. Yep. Wow.
Look at Jane, fearlessly finishing. Hooray! All right, guys, that's round 3. It is a wrap. Take those bands off. My glutes feel amazing taking them off. I was getting a little bit of a cramp. But great job, 3 rounds done. That was fun. Yeah, 3, 2, go. Thanks for joining us today, guys. and sticking with us again. Just a reminder that if you didn't have any of this equipment, it's down in the links. If you don't have the magical hip circle, just go take a look at it and ask someone about it because they're amazing. Don't just trust us. You can
And if
ask
they
all
don't
your
say
friends.
anything good, don't believe them.
They're lying then. They're lying. Yep. Quick reminder, our glutes are pretty sore, so make sure that you stretch and you foam roll. We've got some other videos up here as recovery, so feel free to take a look at some of those. But definitely give a little TLC now that we're done with our workout. Back to your body, a little reward for what it did. As always, we beg and plead you to subscribe and share our channel so that we can keep making these videos and we know that you guys are enjoying them. Comment, tell us what you think down below, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.